How do we make homemade freeze-dried food for camping? That's what we're talking about today. In this video, I share with you how we make a batch of freeze-dried food that is perfect for camping. It can also be stored for up to 30 years at room temperature without spoiling. So why is freeze-dried food so great for camping? First, it's stored at room temperature. Second, it takes up very little space and is lightweight. So it is the best choice for backpacking trips and for long 5 days plus days camping trips. Third, it's ready to eat. Just rehydrate with hot water, wait 5 minutes, and eat it from the bag directly to avoid dish cleanup. I am in front of the freeze dryer machine from Harvest Right Company. It's just completed freeze drying process of the stew that we cooked 2 days ago. You are hearing a chime that lets us know it's time to unload the dried food inside. The dried food is still under vacuum, and you can hear a rumble of the vacuum pump. Before loading the food, I want to take this opportunity to tell you a bit more about how freeze drying process works and why it is such a great way to preserve food, particularly for camping. Let's start with 2 days ago when I started this batch. I brought a freshly cooked batch of stew we made earlier that day. The stew was spread in an even layer on stainless steel trays. We pre-chilled the trays in the fridge for about 30 minutes. This helps to speed up the freeze drying process. The machine was turned on about 15 minutes before loading the trays with food to cool the drying chamber. I loaded the trays, closed the door and the vacuum release valve, and started the process. Once the food was frozen to -10 degrees Fahrenheit, which took about 13 hours, the vacuum pump automatically turned on to reduce the pressure in the chamber to about 500 millitorrs, which is approximately 1,500 times lower than ambient atmospheric pressure. At this point, the machine starts slowly increasing the temperature of the stew to reach the so-called eutectic point, which is the lowest temperature at which mixture of substances such as water and solutes remains completely solid with no liquid phase present. By automatically controlling the temperature of the shelves with food, the machine removes water from the stew. The stew remains frozen while slowly losing water in the gaseous state until no moisture is left in the food. This process is called water sublimation. Water sublimation is the process where water changes directly from the solid state, ice or snow, to a gaseous state, like water vapor, without passing through the liquid phase. This is similar to what happens on a very cold winter day after a snowfall. The snow and ice disappear without melting. Sublimated water from the stew is trapped in the condenser chamber as the ice on the surface of continuously cooled walls of the freeze-drying chamber. Now the process is complete. It took 48 hours, which is typical for maximum load like this batch. By the way, the contents of this batch will give us 10 freeze-dried meal packages, which will likely be lunch for both of us for 5 days at a campsite. I stopped the process, opened the vacuum valve to allow air to fill the chamber. You can hear air rushing in the vacuum chamber to equilibrate the pressure. And as the pressure is equilibrated, I'm able to open the door. Now I remove the dried food, which is completely dry. It's very light, slides around as a sheet. I stack them up here with little spacers, and we'll carry them to the kitchen for packaging. You can see how much ice has accumulated on the walls of the chamber. The ice inside will melt and drain into the collection bucket. After the chamber is dry, the machine is ready for the next freeze-drying run. In the kitchen, we weigh a predetermined amount of dry stew, an equivalent to our typical lunch in calories and nutrition, compared to freshly cooked stew, into plastic pouches. Bags of desiccants are added and pouches are sealed with heat sealer. Food labels with the name, date, and total calorie value are applied to the bags. The bags are kept in a dark storage room until we need them for the next camping trip. Are you interested in a quick overview how we cook the stew and what's in it? Here's a quick summary of our recipe. A day before cooking, we soak pinto beans in water, change water 2-3 times, and keep the last soak at 140 degrees in the oven overnight. This removes anti-nutrients on the surface of the beans that can cause gas and bloating in some people. On cooking day, we prep sweet potato, Yukon Gold potato, onion, carrots, peppers, mushrooms, cabbage, celery, ginger, garlic, and cook a batch of brown rice. To develop more flavor, we fry chopped onions in avocado oil. We use a large 21-quart pot to make the stew. First, we add spices like black, white, and green pepper grounds, bay leaves, red curry paste, teriyaki sauce, and fish sauce, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, 1 can of tomato sauce, and 1 quart of water are added to the pot with spices. Beans and chopped mushrooms are added next. The pot is brought to boil and left for about 30 minutes to simmer. Soaked beans require about 40 minutes to cook. For cooked and some fresh vegetables, we use commercial chopper with a 3/4-inch cutting blade. This speeds up the chopping process. Raw root vegetables and cabbage are chopped by hand. The rest of the chopped vegetables and fried onions are added to the pot for 10 to 15 minutes of cooking or until the beans are completely cooked. Cooked brown rice added in the last 5 minutes of cooking. The stew is ready. Well, it smells absolutely delicious. I'm going to pour a portion for lunch myself before we proceed further, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to put some fresh avocado. To add a little more nutrition and for great green color, I add Swiss chard, which grows in our garden all year round, and it's an incredible herb. It's very nutritious. It's something we've gotten used to, that we put it pretty much in every lunch we have. This is the borage season in the garden. These flowers are beautiful and edible. So I'm going to decorate this just for even greater deliciousness. After it cools, we dispense some of the stew into storage containers for lunches for the next few days. For everyday lunches at home, we alternate salads and stew prepped ahead. Making large batches of food on one cooking day saves a lot of time in the kitchen. The rest of the stew placed on trays for freeze drying. As I mentioned before, we pre-chill the trays with stew for about 30 minutes in the fridge before adding them to the freeze dryer. From this point, you already saw the rest of the freeze drying process. Preparing lunches from freeze-dried food is easy and fast. Boil water, pour the right amount to achieve stew consistency in the bag, wait 5 minutes for the food to fully rehydrate, and it is ready to eat. We use these specially designed titanium spoons for eating from tall packages. When we travel and go camping, we bring combination of fresh food stored in the cooler or fridge and freeze-dried food kept at ambient temperature. This makes longer camping adventures possible. Having a variety of freeze-dried food makes camping, especially on longer trips, much more enjoyable. Making freeze-dried food at home saves a lot of money compared to buying freeze-dried food packages from stores like REI. We also prefer the taste of the homemade food. Well, I hope you found this video interesting. Please let me know in the comments what you cook or eat when camping. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It motivates me to make new videos. See you soon in the next one. Cheers!